Greetings, gamers. It is I, your game master and master of games, Keith, here to talk to you about the Hero Games combat system. So, the way time is broken down when you get into the nitty gritty of combat, the Hero system uses a turn based system. One turn equals 12 segments, and your character can take actions based on their speed. Um, during the combat turn. So, for example, your character speed over on the left would be a 3. That means they have action phases on segments 4, 8, and 12. You can always carry or delay your actions to the next or future segments, but you can never cross past your next action phase. You can never stack them, basically. You have to use it or you lose it. What can you do during those phases? We'll get to that in a second. There are a couple of caveats. Number one, you always start the turn on segment 12. Usually everyone acts except for the poor people that are at speed 1, and you will all take actions unless certain characters are surprised or not involved in the combat. But generally speaking, everyone takes an action on 12, and then the turn commences after that on segment 1 and consecutive segments. Your actions can be delayed. We talked about that. Your actions can also be replaced by a defensive move. So, for example, if you do not have an action, so let's say on segment 2 you're attacked, you have a speed of 3, you can't take an action until 4, but you can cancel that action and do a defensive maneuver. There are 3 defensive maneuvers that are important in the game. There might be exceptions to this, but generally speaking, you have a block, you have a dodge, and you have a dive for cover. Now, blocking is using an attack or a shield or a weapon to deflect or stop the attack from incoming. Second is dodging, just not being there at all when it hits. So you increase your opportunity for your opponent to miss by dodging. And third is your dive for cover. Dive for cover is enables you to get out of an area of effect, maybe a spell or an explosion or dragon breath, something that's covering a large area that you don't want to be in. Then you can dive for cover and try to get out of that area. The farther you move, the harder it is to accomplish. But sometimes you need to dive for cover, as you can't always dodge an area of effect when it just explodes in the whole area. So those are the 3 maneuvers defensively that you can replace your phases with. What else can you do on your action phases? It's important to know that your attack maneuvers, anything that is a strike or even a grab, anything that can be classified as an attack maneuver, is the end of your action phase. So you always want to do your half moves. You want to make your perception rolls, assess the battlefield, whatever you want to do. A presence attack, which is basically getting the attention, yelling out loud, getting someone's attention. Those kind of things have to happen prior to the attack. The attack will end your turn, so be aware of that. But you can, however, move your half move in multiple across the multiple phases. So if you want to, let's give you an example on segment 4, it's your action phase comes up. You want to delay it till 5. On 5, you want to make a half move to a better area of combat. Then you want to assess the situation again, save your other half phase action, and then on segment 6, you hold again. Segment 7, before you lose it on 8, you take your other half move action, or maybe you make a perception roll to look for something specific on the battlefield. There are occasions where your game master will ask you to make a roll. That is not the same thing as an active perception roll. If your game master says you roll a skill check or an intelligence check or even a perception roll, if the game master initiates it, that is a 0 phase action. They're asking you to do something. However, if you want to specifically take an action or make a skill roll, then you can spend time doing that. That is pretty much it for the way that the action phases work and the speed works. If you have any questions, of course, leave them in comments below or just ask during the game. It is a pretty wide open system. It's designed to be creative and flexible. So if there's an action that's not covered on the chart, we can always discuss. But in general, we're not going to nitpick or nickel and dime the small actions. So if you want to grab a potion out of your pouch, that's fine. However, if you want to dig into a journal that's deeply embedded in your backpack and you want to go through, and find a specific entry, that will of course take more time than just grabbing something out of a belt pouch. So, we can kind of figure those moments out as they come along in the game. Hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for being here.